Hi there. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar on supporting and valuing differences in neurodiverse interaction. Welcome to part 2 of our parent workshops for supporting neurodiverse interaction and communication. The topic that will be covered in this workshop will be supporting a young person to develop their self-advocacy skills. My name is Anya and I am a speech and language therapist. Before we start on today's topic, we will quickly recap on the topics covered in the first part of the series. In part 1, we developed our awareness of what neurodiversity is and how the neurodiversity model supports a strength-based approach rather than viewing differences as problems that need to be corrected. We explored the various different styles of interaction. And finally, we discussed various strategies to support children and young people to develop their own self-awareness and self-esteem for interaction with others. In this workshop, we hope to explore how we can support young people to develop their own self-advocacy skills, such as standing up for themselves. We also hope to include some ideas and feedback from young neurodivergent people who have shared ideas about what self-advocacy means to them and some practical strategies that supports them to advocate for themselves. Before we explore ways in which we can support young people to become advocates for themselves, pause this video and write down 1 or 2 words relating to what self-advocacy means to you. We asked the same question to a group of neurodivergent young people in a recent group that we ran here in the centre. Here are some of the ideas that the group came up with. Defending yourself, considering all sides, sharing opinions, having the confidence to say what's on your mind, and sharing how you feel. So what does it mean? The term self-advocacy can be defined as speaking up for oneself and one's interests. Self-advocacy means taking the initiative to communicate your needs and wants to others in order to support your overall well-being. For young people, self-advocacy might look like expressing how they feel, sharing ideas and opinions with others, refusing or disagreeing with someone else's idea or opinion, or asking for clarification when needed. Young people might advocate for themselves by expressing their preferences or sharing their own interests relating to activities or topics that they enjoy or find fascinating. Finally, self-advocacy is about having the ability to refuse and say no and have autonomy over decision-making. These are all skills that are particularly important for children with communication needs. We can provide support to young people to advocate for themselves by creating opportunities to enable them to express their own views. We can provide choices to the young person. We can interpret their feelings and model language and phrases which they can use if they need it. For example, if your young person is pushing things away to indicate refusal, you could model a phrase like, "No thank you, I don't like that," for them. In line with our neurodiverse approach to supporting young people, it's important for young people to learn to say no when they don't want to do something. This applies both verbally and non-verbally, for example, using body language, love, or visuals, and we should positively reinforce this. Supporting neurodivergent young people to self-advocate empowers them to take control of their own decisions, ideas, and learning. It helps neurodivergent learners to communicate their needs and preferences in daily life to peers, educators such as teachers, and in the future, work colleagues and others. Finally, supporting young people to self-advocate promotes self-esteem and self-confidence as neurodivergent learners learn to value and advocate for their own abilities and strengths. The skills you would have used for your young person will be the same ones you will need to support your young person with as they grow and become their own advocate. Your young person will need to communicate their needs and desires, from simple things such as telling others what they want to eat or that they are in pain, to handling a range of real-life situations such as asking a noisy housemate to be quieter. Some examples of skills that you can support your young person to develop include requesting an item or activity, communicating a need, requesting for help, whether that be in school or at home or with peers, making choices, expressing their opinions, supporting your young person to describe their own boundaries, and finally to support your young person with problem solving. Young people are required to advocate for themselves when navigating friendships and relationships. Let's look at some examples. Example 1. You're at the cinema with two friends or family members. They want to see Indiana Jones and the Dial of the Destiny. You want to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When looking at this example, it's important that the young person advocates for themselves by letting their peers or family members know that they want to go and see Spider-Man. The young person communicates to their peers that they would prefer to see Spider-Man. They may express their reasons as to why they want to see Spider-Man and not Indiana Jones. They may consider their friends or family members' perspectives as to why they want to see Indiana Jones. Finally, the young person may advocate for themselves by making a choice, which could be communicating that they would rather not go to the cinema this time as the movie does not appeal to their interests, or making a compromise with their friend or family member where they will see one movie this week and the other movie the following week. Example 2. 3 people are chatting at the back of the class. Most other people are quietly working. You can't concentrate with the noise. In this example, the young person has noticed that the individuals chatting at the back of the class are having an impact on their own ability to concentrate and participate. The young person may advocate for themselves by communicating to the individuals who are chatting that they need silence to participate and engage during the class, letting a teacher know that it is harder for them to participate and concentrate while people are chatting in the background, problem solving and wearing ear defenders or headphones if available to reduce noise levels, letting the teacher know that they need to take a break in a quiet space. Self-advocacy can be communicated in lots of different ways. If your young person finds it challenging to self-advocate verbally, you can support them to advocate for themselves using other methods. Some young people may prefer to write their needs down on paper or through text message. Some young people may make use of gesturing, such as pointing, nodding, or shaking their head to closed yes or no questions. Some young people may find it easier to use visual aids to support their ability to interact with their surroundings and support their ability to make choices and express their needs or feelings. Each child's preferred method of communication will be unique, and it's important that we support their method of communication to ensure we are supporting the young person to be an active participant in their daily lives. During a recent group, we asked the young people to share some ideas about what helps them to advocate for themselves. When using the second example we looked at previously, the first young person noted that they would advocate for themselves by telling the teacher that it is their responsibility to ensure that everyone in the class can learn equally, and that the people chatting at the back of the class are distracting them from participating and concentrating. Say to the teacher that they might not be disturbing everyone, but they are disturbing me, and it's your responsibility to make sure everyone can learn equally. The second young person noted that they prefer to use a visual to advocate that they need a break during class. A timeout pass might be helpful to request a break in school. The third young person shared that they often find it easier to communicate their needs and share how they are feeling through text, as it gives them time to plan what they will say. Sometimes it's easier to text how I'm feeling so I can plan what I will say. The fourth young person noted that they need to be fidgeting with an item or taking apart electronics in order to concentrate. The young person noted that often teachers or friends think that they're not listening or that they're bored. However, they explain it helps them to concentrate and direct their focus during an interaction. You might think I'm bored, but I'm not. It helps me to concentrate. Some other ideas that the young people in the group mentioned which support them to advocate their needs to others include wearing headphones to support concentration, developing a secret word and sharing this word with a family member or friend, and when this word is mentioned in a conversation, it indicates that they need a break. When young people have confidence in themselves, it makes it easier for them to communicate when they need help. It also supports them to explain and advocate for their needs to others. Acknowledge when a young person shares an opinion or stands up for themselves by saying, "I like that you told me how you feel." Your young person may not have the language they need to make a request or communicate a need. You could model language for your young person, such as, "Can I use that block? I need it for my building." You may want to jump in for your young person when you can see that they want to communicate a need. However, it's important to step back sometimes so that they can learn to advocate for themselves. This will increase your young person's confidence in their ability to advocate for themselves independently. You can support your young person to advocate for themselves independently while still being able to support them to ask for help when it's needed.
For further information on strategies, you can also find a leaflet on the Enable Ireland website with tips from the team on supporting neurodiverse interaction.